Hello and welcome to this Draw With Me video where I'll be drawing with a mechanical pencil in this sketchbook. I wanted to try something new and actually draw something traditionally on here for once. I've got a break from work, so I actually have a lot more energy and a lot more inspiration, so I wanted to use that energy to do something creative and something fun and something different. So this time it's just a good old pencil sketch, so we're going back to basics and drawing with something that I haven't used in a while. So my idea for this drawing was to make a semi-detailed drawing of a guy with a dagger, so maybe an assassin or something like that, and then he's supposed to be squeezing the dagger so there's blood running out. So it's supposed to be a little bit tense. So here I start with the hand. So I decided on making the hand before I made the arm because that often helps me with the placement and makes it look a little bit less awkward for some reason. So I start with that and then I draw the arm afterward, and I think it works pretty well. I still think the fingers look a little bit wonky, a little bit too long, a little bit like a spider that was in a car accident, but that's fine. And then I draw the dagger before I move on to the other hand so that I know where to place that hand. So this hand was a little bit of a struggle. I don't really know why. I think it's the ankle of the hand. It just doesn't really fit, and then I wasn't sure how to make him hold the dagger. So here I'm trying that out with this ankle and it just didn't really work. So I ended up moving the hand more downwards afterwards. So here I'm drawing the hand again, and I think the placement is a bit better and it makes a bit more sense with this one. And here I draw the blood running from the hand that is squeezing the dagger. So it's coming from it runs down from his hand, but also runs along the dagger and then down. Here I start working on his face. First start with some guidelines to help me place the eyes, and then I laid down the eyes. I kind of wanted him to sort of hold his head down but be looking up, so I gave him some extra big eyes because he's supposed to look a little bit creepy, and also like he's looking right at you as if you did something or saw something that you shouldn't have. I draw the ears quite high up to give more of the illusion that his head is turned downwards. Here I'm just erasing some of the guidelines so that I have space to give him some fluffy eyebrows. I tried to make them a bit thicker than I normally would, not all that much thicker, but a little bit, to make him look a little bit more masculine. Then I add a circle in the right corner to help me remember where the light source is coming from, because I tend to forget. I wanted this clothing style, or like this drawing, to be a bit more like Middle Ages or like the medieval times, but I still really wanted to give him earrings, so I did that anyways. I'm not sure if men wore earrings at the time. I don't really think so, but I like it. Here I add some shadow under the neck before smooshing it all together and smooshing the rest of the face. I do that so that I get like a nice mid-tone so that I can put light and shadow on top of that. Smooshing the face like that also takes away all the details, so I had to draw all of those again and then put all the shadows back where they were. Here I tried to add some more dimension to the face, and I started by doing that with a mechanical pencil, but then I switched over to this other pencil because it's darker and a lot softer, so it works a lot better. I switched back to the mechanical pencil for the outlines and also for the darkest parts of the shadow because it is a lot sharper, so I can get a lot darker, stronger lines with that. Here I'm working on the eyes with the mechanical pencil, and then I decide to erase the eyes, just so that will pop a bit more. And I actually really like this effect, and I end up not keeping it. I end up adding some more details in the eyes, which I really regret because I love the pop of white in the eye. It gives it so much more drama. Here I go back in with the eraser to add in the highlights. So I put a little bit on the nose. I wish my eraser was a little bit smaller to get more of that detail in there, but it's not. I also add some more light on the cheek, or one of the cheeks, because that's where the light source is coming from. Then I go back in with the shadows, and I will be going a lot back and forth with the eraser and the mechanical pencil along the way. At this point I wanted more highlights, so I went in with the eraser again, but it ended up being too much highlight, and I actually end up smooshing it with my finger a little bit, also just to get more of that soft edge to it. And here I'm working on the lips. I was really scared of making them too feminine, because whenever I add lips to my male characters they suddenly become women, but I think I actually was successful this time. It looks good. Here I started on the outfit. I wanted to give him kind of like these long, tighter cuffs, and then like these fluffy sleeves, because I thought that would add more drama to it. I struggled a little bit with the sleeves because I'm not really, or the wrinkles in the sleeves, because I'm not really good with drawing clothing or wrinkles. So I tried to keep the wrinkles and the details to the minimum. I wanted to give the character a vest over the shirt because I thought that would add a bit more drama and make it more elegant. So I added a high collar, and I also wanted it to be a bit open. Here I started shading the shirt. I wanted the shirt to be shaded pretty lightly since it's supposed to be white, and then I could make the vest a lot darker to add a bit more contrast to the drawing. Here it's time to color in the vest, and I should probably have switched over to the softer pencil at this point, but I did not, and I don't know why. So it was kind of a struggle to get a nice even layer, since the mechanical pencil has a very fine tip, so it always added these tiny little lines. But I think I fixed it with my finger along the way, so it looks fine. Of course, after using my finger so much on the drawing, I had lost a lot of the details in the hands, and also the vest needed some shadows. So I did that afterwards, as you can see right here. Here it's time for the dagger to get some details. So I start by adding some more lines on the handle, just so it pops a little bit more, and then I start shading the dagger. So it's mostly just some nice lines at the top, and then later I make a little bit of a shine on it. The vest was looking pretty plain at this point, so I decided to go in with my mechanical pencil and making some nice florals, just mostly around the collar and then a little bit down as well. The shirt was looking pretty plain, so I decided to go with some nice buttons, just to add a little bit more details to the drawing. First I just added on the top, but then I decided that was ugly, and I went with the whole shirt instead. Here I'm adding the little shine to the dagger that I talked about. Then now it's time for the hair, which I struggled a lot with, because it's been a while since I drew a guy, and it's been a while since I drew some nice guy hair. So first, the hairline was just way too low, so I added a little hairline beforehand, just as a little guideline. Then I started with some more fluffy hair, the hair that swoops a little bit backwards in a way. But that was looking too clean, so I added some extra hair. Didn't like it, erased that. Then I try some more. And then I erase that again. And then here I go with a bit more of a fluffy style, a little bit more of a bad boy anime hairstyle, which I also don't really like. Erase that, start again. So 5th time to charm, am I right? So I went with a even cleaner look than I went with before, at the start at least. That looks like this, and I was liking it, but I needed more drama. It was too clean, so I went with little tiny hairs that went different directions again, but this time it actually kinda worked out. So the character was supposed to be blonde, so I wasn't sure if I wanted to add too much shading to it, so I left it for a little while, came back to it, and then added a tiny little bit of shading, just, yeah, to add a tiny bit more dimension to it, but very little. When the hair is done, you gotta add some shadows underneath, because hair creates shadow on your forehead, so you do that. And then after I finish that, I add some more dimension to the hair and also a little bit to the face. After I shaded the face, I had lost a lot of the highlights, so I had to add them back in. This time I used the backside of my mechanical pencil because it was a lot smaller and I thought it would get some smaller details. I had lost the tip of the dagger while shading the vest, so I had to add that one back in there, and then of course we needed the blood, so I added that in as well. Then it's time for the eyes, which I really regret, because it looked so much better when it was just white. It had so much more drama, it was so much just more menacing. Now he looks kind of just like a guy, you know? Then later, to add a little bit more details and try to add a little bit more of that menacing feeling back, I added a circle around the eye, which I definitely do think gave it more detail, but it did not make it more menacing, sadly. I felt like the drawing needed a darker background to make him pop a little bit more, so I decided to just darken it up with my sturdy mechanical pencil. So I tried to add some darker lines around the character himself, just so that he would pop a little bit more, and so that he wouldn't run in with the background. And then I just made a whole bunch of lines and cross hatches, and later on I also blended in with my finger. This was a process, it took quite some time, but I do think it added a little something to the drawing. Here I'm blending everything in for the final time with my finger, And then the drawing is pretty much done. Here is the final result. I actually think it turned out pretty good, and I'm really happy that I drew with something other than an iPad for once. Thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope you liked it, and I will see you again next week. Goodbye!